Hi everyone, welcome back to Art a la Carte. In this video I want to show you how to draw kind of a sad eye in a anime manga kind of style. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and create the eye shape, which I'm going to use kind of an ovalish. And I find for me that if I try to keep my pencil really straight and just make that one straight line, that I get so focused on the line that I forget about the shape. So for me it helps to be a little bit messy. And so if you're like me, just create those lines with a very light hand. That way it's easier for you to go back through and clean them up. The style and design of an anime eye will differ or change depending on what studio or what artist is creating that. So this definitely isn't the only way to draw an anime eye or a sad anime eye. Just the way I'm doing it. So next you want to decide which is your corner, inner corner and outer corner. So I'm going to have this be my inner corner here, and this is going to be my outer corner. So because it's sad, I'm going to have the eyelids kind of narrowed a little bit, so it's not going to be as wide as I normally would draw my eye. So I'm going to bring this over and then cut it in as the upper lid and the bottom lid kind of meet together. The next thing I'm going to do is put in my actual pupil and iris, and I'm going to make sure that this shape is overlapped both by the top lid and the bottom lid. If you have the eye opened up really wide where you see the whole iris, you're going to get more of a shocked or excited look. But if you want it kind of a more calmer or a sadder look or a tired look, you're going to close up the eyelids a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add in my pupil in the center there. So basically I have the shape of my eye right now. Now I can begin to define it and add in my lash lines. So for this I'm going to switch to a different color pencil just so that you can see the differences there. So I'm going to go with my purple. And I'm going to begin to create the lash line, which I'm going to create like a nice thick lash line. And as this lash line comes up, I'm going to have it peak right about here and then come down. This is going to go with what the brow would be, because your brow with the sad eye is going to be raised in concern. So this is going to kind of come up and then come down. And then not a lot of detail on the bottom. So the bottom lashes aren't going to be super full, just this outer corner here. And I'm not going to have my eyelashes swooping up. I'm going to have things drooping to kind of add that sad feel to things. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in just blocking in where I want some shines to be. So you want to think about your reflections and where your light is. So I have a larger light source hitting here and then a back source right here. So I want a little bit of tear here. So I'm going to put just a little bit of a circle here for the actual teardrop. Kind of clean that up, just reserve that spot for the tear. So this part here is my lash line. So I'm also going to create in my upper lid crease, which again I'm going to follow kind of this line where it kind of comes up and peaks right up here. And I can have a second crease kind of coming in behind that just to kind of emphasize that drawing up kind of concerned look. And then if I want to, I can go ahead and create my eyebrow as well, which I'm going to follow this line here, just exaggerate it up just a little bit more. Okay, now it's time to just clean up any lines that you don't need, and then we can begin adding in some coloring or inking this drawing in. The first part I've done is just add in some skin tones and a little bit of shading into the whites of the eyes. I didn't want to get into a lot of detail here because that's a different lesson on coloring and shading in using Copic markers. But I do want to talk a little bit about adding some shading and coloring to the actual eyeball itself. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to take my lightest shade. Well, first I'm going to decide what color of eye do I want. So I'm going to have a nice, I'm going to have kind of a tealish green blue eye. So I'm going to take and first add one of my lighter shades, and I'm just going to pull that in around. And the only part I'm not going to color in is the actual whites of her eye, like the shines in her eyes. I'm going to leave those. But I'm going to pull in that color. And then I'm going to go with a slightly darker shade here. And you'll see that I'm going to add my shadows as I begin to pull them in, starting from the top and bringing down, because generally the light is coming down from above you and hitting you. So there's a cast shadow caused by your eyelashes and your eyelid, which will shade a little bit. But I'm going to bring that color just around the edges and around the pupil in the center and underneath the reflection. And you'll see I'm going to add little flicks, kind of adding that pattern to the eye. And this just comes from just having fun and experimenting and seeing what works for you, because every eye is going to be a little bit different. But if I look at pictures of my eyes, I just see a lot of different patterns in that. So kind of adding those flicks of color kind of add to that. And if you find that your paper is getting a little wet, like see it's pretty soaking through here, just kind of let it dry for a minute and it will continue soaking up the paper, because if it gets too wet it's going to start feathering out depending on the type of paper that you have. I'm also going to go in here and just add a little bit of color to the teardrop, leaving a little bit of a shine there. And I'm trying to stay away from going right to my blacks for the center, because it just kind of gives this nice pastel-y color. But I'm using a B39, which is a Prussian blue, which is the darkest blue that I have. So it's almost a black blue. But as it mixes with those colors, you'll just find it gets a really nice color without that deadening black. And this technique would work with any color eye, whether you do want to do brown eyes or, you know, just straight blue eyes, green eyes, purple eyes, pink eyes, red eyes, yellow eyes, just starting with your lightest tones and working through to your darker tones. The last thing I want to do is add in my lashes. So I'm going to take a brush pen. This is a black Prismacolor, and I'm just going to start with a very light line first. Remember, with a brush pen, the harder pressure you have, the thicker your line. So if you have a really light-handed, you're going to get that nice wispy thin line. I'm just going to flick that color down along here. I'm going to get to those lashes. I'm just going to flick it out. So I want that nice point at the end. This is my favorite part. Definitely something you don't want to rush. If you don't have a lot of practice in inking in or using a brush pen, I highly recommend that you grab a little scratch piece of paper and just practice it out first, because that's where you want to make your mistakes. It's kind of frustrating to make it on something that you've already put a lot of work into. So just a little bit of practice. Not going to put a lot of line on the bottom line. I don't want a ton of emphasis on that. I want the majority of the lashes to be up here on the top part. And you'll find that every artist has kind of their own style for doing lashes. Some have just minimal lashes, some are crazy, and that's just however you want to put them. I tend to like to put a lot thicker lashes to the side here, and then as it moves up towards the eye, they get a little bit thinner. I still want to kind of emphasize this little point up and then have it come down, so I don't want to lose that. On this drawing, I kept this shine line really clean, but this one kind of got covered up a little bit, and I don't have as much shine here. So what I do is you can take a whiteout or acrylic paint, or you can, what I bought is this Copic opaque white. It comes with like a little brush, and you can kind of dabble on. Sometimes I don't like the applicator brush, and I'll use actually one of my paint brushes, but sometimes it works. I can kind of dab that on. And I can get that nice white that I wanted, that maybe I colored over in my excitement to add in color. And you know, if you kind of want to add in some extra shines, again, this is all those personal preferences that people have. Some people go super crazy with the shines in the eyes. I find when people are kind of crying, their eyes seem to shimmer a little bit more. So I tend to put just a little bit more sparkling in there than I normally would. So there we go, my version of a sad little kind of anime manga style eyeball. If there's an expression that you'd like to see how to create, whether it's in an anime manga style or not, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see about making a tutorial on that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. If you're brand new to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And as always, God bless you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.